All right. Good morning. Good morning. So, congratulations on being here, starting your day off this way. I'm so excited to bring into our conversation this morning a true professional and somebody who has demonstrated some success in really a relatively short period of time being in the business of real estate. And I'm excited to get her perspective and to have you guys glean just some nuggets of great information, and I know some inspiration because she's got a great attitude and a great energy. So let's bring her into the conversation. Good morning, Lisa Kozin. How are you doing?
Good morning, everyone. I'm doing great. A little nervous, but really excited to be here. So grateful, John.
It's all good. You got over 100 of your closest friends here, just waiting with bated breath on what you have to say. So good to see you. So good morning. How are you doing?
I'm actually doing really good considering, I'm doing really good.
Yeah. So I guess let's start by telling everybody a little bit about yourself. Maybe just share with us where you grew up and just who is Lisa Kozin?
Okay. Well, I grew up in Oxnard, California, born and raised. So this is just my hometown. Love my city, love our county and just everything. I'm one of 6 kids. And I just, I grew up in just very simple life, not really much anything there, but, a good childhood. I'm grateful for that, even though my parents didn't have much. I look back and I'm like, I'm just so grateful for everything that they did. They definitely did the best that they could. But I've been here. I went to college. I graduated from Cal State Northridge in business management.
Okay.
I've been with my husband for 16 years. We've been married for 12, but he's been such an inspiration and just a great person, such a blessing in my life. And I have 2 kids, a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old. We all celebrating, June is our birthday month, so it's all for us 3. So we have a lot of celebrations going on this month, and I'm so, yeah.
So your birthday and then your 2 kids' birthdays.
Yeah, my son and me share the same day.
All right, very cool.
Yeah.
That is great. That is awesome. So 16 years married, and how long have you been in the real estate business then?
I have 3 completed years, so I'm on my, but I have 3 full years.
Okay, all right, that's great. So you 3.5 to 4 years total in the business. How did you get into real estate? I mean, because most people, let's be honest about real estate. A lot of people want to be in real estate, but not a lot of people get to stay in real estate. And what I mean by that is most people who get in don't stay in because it's a tough business. So what did you come from and how did you decide to do what you're doing?
I've always worked since I was 16 years old, and I worked for 3 different companies, really, really great companies, stayed there for years and, at each one of those companies. But, when you become a parent, everything kind of changes. And so I've always had that 8 to 5 corporate life, and I was fine with it. I was very grateful and, always wanting to just achieve and move up the ladder. But what really for me, I became a parent, and my husband and me were like, wow, like, how am I gonna, pick up the kids from school? And I was like, they get out at 2, 3 o'clock. I work 8 to 5. My lunch is 12 to 1. I don't have that flexibility. And it bothered me. And so one day I just told my husband, I really would love to do something and maybe get into real estate. And he was like, you should do that. You would be so great at that. He just right away just encouraged me. And I said, you know what, I think I will. And I signed up, and, that burning desire just started when I was just studying for, my exam for those, few months that you have to wait. And I jumped in, and the plan was actually to do it part-time. But John, I had just this desire in me, and I just knew that I would be successful, that I would work so hard and I would learn the business because I knew nothing about it, but that I would learn it. And I just looked at my husband one day and I said, I can't focus on my work. I was working at the Superior Court of, Ventura, County of Ventura. I was a court clerk. And I couldn't even focus anymore. I was just so into real estate and all my training classes and just taking everything in. And that's all I wanted to do. And 2 weeks after I got my license, I gave my 2-week notice. And
Wow.
yes, yeah. And my husband said, do it. I'll support you. We'll find a way and we'll make it happen. And if we have to, make those sacrifices, and we did, then we'll just do it. He said, I believe in you. And so he's been so amazing to, definitely such a contributor to my success. And I did, and I jumped in and I joined a broker and I just started my real estate career.
And the rest is history.
Yeah.
So you said something that I thought was interesting. You said that you started working, you were 16 and you've never stopped working. Mm-hmm. And it's been so interesting that all of these producers that I have interviewed and that George has interviewed, one of the consistent themes is that they started work early, that even as teenagers, they were proactively going out and finding a job. I mean, it's interesting. I spent some time this last weekend with my son, and he and I were supposed to do a job with my dad putting a bumper on his older sister's car because she had smashed the bumper on the car. And I said, hey, buddy, if you want to earn some money, because he keeps hitting me up to buy a mountain bike. He's got one, but he wants a better one. And I said, well, I'll give you opportunities to earn money. I'm not just going to give you the money. And he said, okay, let's do it. I said, you can help us, put this bumper on. Well, when it came time for the work to be done, he disappeared. And when we were done, I said, where were you? Well, I was tired, right? And I think what is interesting is that so many people find themselves tired and come up with all sorts of excuses why, but here you are at the age of 16, finding work. And I don't think it's a coincidence that you're here today sharing with people your story and your success in real estate, and the fact that you at a very young age recognize the importance of work and that you have a work ethic. Would you say that you have a work ethic? I mean, I know the answer to it, but I want to hear what you say.
I have such a strong work ethic. And at 16, I worked at that company. I ended up staying with them for like 15 years and moved my way up. And I was 16 in high school, and I worked from like 1 to 4, where the office hours are 1 to 5. And, I had already finished all my credits for high school. So I wanted a job because I bought it. My dad bought me a car, but he said, you got to pay your insurance and your gas. So I said, okay. And I just learned really, really strong work ethics. And I just really never stopped working. Even when I went to Northridge in college, I worked full time. I went to night school. It was hard, but I put myself through school. It's all I knew. It's just, and I've always thought at every employer that I've been at, I always was just an excellent employee. You do your best regardless of what your position is. I always just did my best there and just created amazing relationships and friendships with people. And I tell you, all of that has come back because at every one of those employers, I've had business closed transactions from people that I used to work with when I was back 16, 18 years old from those companies. It's amazing.
What is interesting, it is amazing. It's interesting. So let's kind of crack some of this open. You've been in the business 3.5, 4 years, and you're consistently making over a 6-figure income. And that puts you in terms of income earners in the United States in the top 15%, which is interesting. And then in the business of real estate, it also puts you in the top 15% of the real estate industry. So what we know is that you're making an exceptional income. And I guess the question that I have, and I know that those who are listening have, how does somebody who's been in the business 3-4 years accelerate that quickly and end up making that sort of income consistently when most people in the business of real estate do not make it? Most are out. 80% of them are out in the first 18 months. And here you are not only surviving, but you're thriving consistently. What are you doing? What are you doing differently than those people who are not doing this?
I will say my first year, I just went out and I asked for the business. And I started in my sphere because that's where I'm comfortable. I wasn't comfortable door knocking. I didn't even know the business. So my first year, I was all about just being a student, learning my contracts. I'm so big on my contracts. I wanted to understand them because I wanted to make sure that when I reached out to my sphere and if I did business with them, that I knew what I was talking about. And that's kind of hard to do your first year when you really don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Right. So it just, but I really reached out to my sphere. I just planted those seeds. And I feel like on my year 2, everything just started really, really coming together and people remembered. And you just have to go out there and ask for the business. And if you're comfortable first starting off with your sphere, like I was, I feel like that's like the most comfortable zone to start in. That's what I did. And I just really, I really, and people, they want you to be successful and they want you, to support you. And you shouldn't feel weird to ask them like, hey.
Pause for a second. Lisa, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you said something that is so important there that I want people to hear, because we're going to get off on a different topic here in just a second, and it speaks to this more about you than them. You said that people want you to be what?
Successful.
It's so interesting that you have that perspective, because the number of agents that I talk to, their attitude or perspective about their clients or their SOI is that they believe that the client or the person in their SOI thinks that they're bothering them. That their perspective is that I am just—
That's just us in our head.
See, that is so interesting. So I want, just pause for a second. I want everybody who's listening right now to hear how important this is. The reason that Lisa, one of the reasons, because there are many, but one of the reasons that she is successful is the way in which she looks at this business and the way in which she treats it. One of the perspectives is that she believes that the people she talks to want her to be successful. Now, how interesting is that? Taking that mental attitude, that perspective, and comparing that to the attitude of most real estate agents, which is this: the people I call think that I'm bothering them, and that's why I don't like to call them. Can you imagine the difference that these agents who are listening on the phone who do that, Lisa, or those who are watching this Zoomcast who do that, who have that perspective, that they think they're bothering their clients, that if they had your perspective, that the clients or the people in their SOI actually want them to succeed, how that would impact their business? Do you think that it would?
Of course. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I would have been that way, I would have gotten in my own way and I wouldn't have had the success in, the first year and the second year. And it just, I know that it was because I had planted all those seeds when I just started off, and people just, went off my energy and my excitement for the real estate business. And I didn't know anything, but I was just so excited. They could see it, and they could see it in me. And I do have a big sphere of friends and family. Part of that, I feel like, my husband and me have always just been very social people. We've always celebrated, people's lives and accomplishments, and so we do have a big circle there, and all of those friends and family, I mean, that is my business.
So that nugget right there that you just shared, that we just talked about, is enough. So let's just tell everybody, thank you for showing up. And Lisa, thanks for being here. And let's finish it, right? No, there's a lot more for you to share, but it's interesting. If they just took that one thing and changed their perspective on how people look at them, their SOI and others, it would make them, I know, it would make them multimillionaires. It would, if they just took that attitude to their business every single day. Would you agree?
I agree.
Yeah. So, but we're not done. So let me ask you this. You and I were talking yesterday, and I thought it was so interesting. And I told you, I said, we're going to talk about this. And I didn't get into the detail, but you said something that was interesting, and it goes again to your attitude, your mindset. Do you remember what we were talking about when I said, well, we're going to get more into that? I said, that was an interesting statement that you just made. Do you remember what you said?
Yeah.
If you don't, I'll remind you. Well, what I asked you, I said, share with me what your challenges have been, and do you remember what your response was to that?
Yes.
Okay. Just tell them what you said. Don't change what you said. Just say what you said, because I love it.
Well, I said, well, John, I was thinking about that. And I don't know if it's just because I've only been, 3.5 years in, but I haven't really had any challenges yet.
I love that. You can say that.
It's gonna come because I hear people say it, but I'm not afraid of it. I'm just focused on working.
And I love it. Can I share something with you though? The fact is, you've had challenges. You've had a lot of challenges. You have.
Yeah.
But the difference is that you don't focus on them and you don't make them bigger than they are. I know this to be the case because of the mere way in which you answer that question. Because let me ask you this. Do you live in Ventura County?
Yes.
And has Ventura County been affected by COVID?
Yes.
Did the county health department and the governor pass dictates that affected your business?
Yes.
Okay. And were there people in your marketplace who decided they didn't want to buy or sell real estate because of what was going on?
Yes.
Okay, now this is so interesting. Guys and gals, she's facing challenges from all around her, and yet her attitude is, I'm not facing any challenges.
Yeah.
I want you to understand how important this is. The reason that Lisa Kozin is consistently, even in her young career, making a six-figure income consistently year after year is because of her mental attitude. First of all, going back to her work ethic, starting work at the age of 16 and never stopping working up to this point and bringing that attitude to this business, but then also having this attitude about the way in which the people she talks to look at her and the fact that they want to help her, that it is the way in which she looks at the world and this business that allows her to be as successful as she is. Would you agree with that? Lisa, is that,
I agree.
am I spot on?
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't think it's the way you're saying it, but you're right. Yeah. Wow. I'm going to have to figure out that.
So you're welcome, because the thing is, I think it's important for you to recognize that you are amazing in that regard, the way in which you have wired yourself. So that's the question I want to ask you. Why do you think you're wired that way? Because see, that's not the way most people are. Most people tend to be pessimistic. They always look for excuses. They'll come up with all sorts of reasons as to why they can't, it won't, and it's not possible. And yet, when I ask you the simple question, what have your challenges been? You almost embarrassingly for yourself, sheepishly say, gosh, I guess I've been lucky. I haven't had any challenges, and you have. So what makes you think that way? As you pause for a moment and just think about that. Why do you process that way? Was it the way you were raised? Was it your mom, your dad? Was it an experience that you had? Is it just your innate nature? Or are you doing things on a daily basis that affect and protect your mindset? And maybe it's all of those.
I was going to say, it's all of it. It's just all of it. I've always been a very positive person. I've always been a very kind person. I've had those, you have those moments of fear, but I know where to go to get out of that. So just my relationship with God. So that's for me, number one. And so I just know what's, that he's just for me. So nothing can be like against me. So I just have that mentality. I've always been that way. I really have. And I think now, and even being with Century 21 and the mindset that you guys have given us, and it's just, I'm so grateful for it. I'm so glad I'm here. And I just, now it's all about just protecting it and growing it and, and passing that on and sharing it with others the way we're all doing, this morning.
So I just want to break this down for people, because what I want to do is to have you hand to them these nuggets that they can look at and say, well, I can incorporate that into my life. Having a better work ethic, having the right attitude that allows me to have a better work ethic. And then knowing that things do happen, bad things happen, pandemics, riots, economic downturns, stay-at-home mandates, all of these things happen to us. And yet you have this attitude that you don't have any challenges. So one of your go-tos is your relationship with your creator, which is awesome. What else would you say is your go-to? Because there are other things that you're doing to help protect your mindset. What else would you say is helping you with this amazing attitude that you have?
I mean, I guess it really is. It's just like that peace, like in my life. I'm just so grateful for like the most important things, just health and my family, my kids. And I just really have true joy from all of that. So I don't seek it and, other things. And
how do you stay focused on that? No, that's great. You make it seem so simple. And for you, I always say that it's difficult for us to see where we are because that's where we are. And it's a lot easier for people to see where we are because they're standing back looking at us. And for you, I think that you take it for granted, not in a negative way, but I mean, you just where you are, it's just normal for you. It's normal to have this attitude of, I have no challenges. It's been a pretty, it's a challenging business, but it's been an easy business. And yet what we all know is that it's not. And here you are making it, even though it isn't easy, you're making it sound easy and look easy. So what do you do to remain grateful? Because I think that's an important concept, to remain grateful, because I think it's the best antidote to fear. But how do you do that? What are the things you're doing practically every day? Because that's what they want to know. How is it that she is so optimistic when it seems like the world's falling apart?
I know. And, and just now, hearing you say that, and you're right. I guess when I think of like challenges, I just think of these really, like, the magnitude of them, and they're really big ones. Of course, I have had challenging transactions, but the thing is, John, those were the ones that I was the most grateful, not maybe in the moment, but those are the ones that I look back and I'm so grateful for, because those are where I just learned so much from, and I grew so much. And I remember just that first year wanting so desperately to be like all the other agents that knew the business, understood it, knew how to, strategize this and do that. And I just wanted that experience so bad, but I knew that I had to be patient. I had to be a student, learn my contracts, go out there, plant my seeds, and that day would come, that I would feel confident. And with each transaction, each family that I helped, each success story, it just kept building my confidence in this business. And so I do want to say that, like, and maybe that's why I don't see the challenges, because they were, but I'm just so grateful for them, because they helped me grow.
You have me.
That's why.
You have me smiling like a Cheshire cat, because I'm listening to you and just watching to you. Your perspective, your energy is something that you can't fabricate. It's genuine, and I can hear that. And I'm assuming, and if not, I'm hoping that those who are watching this can see that and sense that as well, because it is a great light and a great hope for what people can do despite what is going on. I think it's fantastic. So my question for you is, there's something that's driving this. There's something that's driving this work ethic, this mental attitude that I have no challenges, that even when I have challenges, I learn from and I grow from it. And this is a great business. You got 2 kids, you got life happening, and yet you still maintain this attitude of everything is great. And that my people, when I talk to them, they want me to be successful. What's one of the drivers for you? What's your purpose? What's your passion? Why are you pursuing this to such a level that you are? What makes you tick?
Ooh, I mean, that question is going to be so hard to answer, because I don't, want to get emotional, but it's just, of course, like everyone else, we want to provide for our family, your kids, and you want to do that. And of course that is true. But for me, it's just, it's just serving in God's kingdom and whatever He wants me to do, and just going there. That's my number one thing. It really is.
I love it. And you don't need to get into detail. I want to respect that. And yet, what is interesting, you have said enough. And here's what I mean by that. Those who just listened to your answer discovered the most important thing, which was that you are deeply connected to those things. It doesn't matter what they are. You just demonstrated that you are connected to them. Just simply that emotion that we all saw well up demonstrates to me that you've done what most people, unfortunately, don't do. And I believe that they have the capacity to do it, but most people don't do it because they don't spend the time. They're not committed to doing it. And that is really discovering and connecting with their passions, their purpose, their why, and doing that consistently every day, so that when there are challenges, that when there is a pandemic, that when there are riots, when the governor says you can't go to work, or you're going to have to revolutionize the way in which you do it, and people say that, well, I'm not going to buy or sell real estate, that you don't give up and you go out and find the solutions and continue to do it. That your response is being driven by something that you are deeply connected to at a very, very internal, deep, important level to you. And that is what's driving you. And I want people to understand that and hear that. Look, guys and gals, as you sit here and you listen to Lisa's message, number one, I hope that you're inspired. But number two, I hope that you hear what she's saying, because she's handing you practical things that if you'll take these things, that they will work for you as well. but you cannot expect to get through a pandemic or through riots or economic downturns or any other personal challenges without doing these things, about having these perspectives. I'm just telling you, it is so critical what she is sharing with us, being connected to those things that drive you. And there is no question, Lisa, that based upon your answer, you are connected to things at a very deep personal level, which is great.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. So I guess a couple more things. Share with us, if you would, what does the typical day of Lisa Kozin look like in real estate? What are the things that you can hand to people and say, these are the things that I do consistently? I know if you do these things, that you'll experience success as well.
For me, I mean, I've listened to other agents and how they start their days and everything. And I know that I still have to do a little bit more of that and just structure that. But I think because we don't live in a 8-to-5 job, and which I love, that's one of the reasons that I want to get in this and have that flexibility to still be there for my kids and in and out.
Right.
But my day really is all about, I really like to wake up early, have my morning coffee, and just spend that time. But it's alone, and I really just love to work. I love to work. I love my even just from the paperwork just to everything, set up everything really early on so my day can start unfolding, and just reaching out to my friends and family, checking on them first of all, and making sure that they're okay if they need anything from me, and again, just planting more of those seeds at my family and friends when they refer me. I mean, I'm just so grateful, and I just think and just being able to just give. I already had close transactions with some of my friends and family. My best friend was my first transaction. I was licensed for 1 month, and she was my first transaction, and we went in and after, what I mean, and she's just still even now refers me, and it was such a wonderful experience. And even though I wasn't fully equipped, I was I had someone mentoring me and helping me. And so for me, it's just my sphere is really, really where I'm just building myself, my brand, and my business. I'm all about my clients, and providing like world-class service for them. I just feel like I have to impress them with the service, because if they're going to come to me, for one of the biggest purchase of their life, and they're coming to me, I need to make sure that I am providing just that world-class service, and that I'm really teaching them the process, going through them with the process.
Right.
And it's really exciting, but and so for me, it's just I work that because I'm comfortable in that.
Okay, so I want to break it down a little bit. So you start your day early. You have kids who have been at home because of what's going on in today's world. What does that look like? And especially now with kids now being out of school, the kids will be at home. A lot of the summer camps and so forth aren't happening. So how are you dealing with that? What does that look like?
It's interesting because my husband, he's a high school counselor at a high school in Oxnard. And so he's been home. So usually I'm the one dropping off the kids in the morning, breakfast, making lunches, I had very limited time. I always had to leave my office or any home inspection or anything with clients by 1:30 to make sure that I picked up my kids in Camarillo at 2 p.m. So to be honest, I was more stretched thin then.
I love it.
What I mean? Like,
no, I do.
This all happened. Yeah, it was different. I didn't have to wake up even earlier just to get them ready and get them out the door. It almost feels like a big, just being able to have my husband here, and he just, help me. And we're just such a good team, and we just help each other, and we just it's done.
You found a solution to one of the challenges, your husband. Yeah. So that's great. Yeah. So you start your day early. You're calling your SOI every day?
Yeah, just reaching out and if it's either through, just obviously phone. Before all this happened, we're really big, just like even just hanging out with my SOI. Like we go to everything that we're invited to. We really do. I think that that's so important, just so people could see me. my husband he works at a school. I've already helped about 5 of his, coworkers, but it's because they all know me from a personal level from all our kids' parties or previous, celebrations of life, and asking them for the business.
So what percentage of your business would you say comes from your SOI?
Ooh,
Is it 70, 80, 90%? What?
Well, in 2018, I had about 8 out of 11 deals, and that was my second full year for referrals. And same thing in 2019. So this year, I looked at every client. I'm set to close next month. Will be 8, and all of those 8, all referrals. Everyone is a referral.
So either somebody you worked with before, or in this case, people who were referred by people you'd worked with before, or family and friends?
Even just friends. I have a friend who referred me to her brother, and I haven't seen her since high school, and we are just connected through social media, and she just referred me, and I had a really great transaction with her brother, and she's just so grateful.
So it goes back to, this was the last thing that I wanted to ask about relative to this question, and we'll wrap it up. But you use the phrase world-class experience. It's obvious you're doing that. What does world-class experience mean to you? What are you doing that's causing people that you haven't seen since high school but have maintained contact with through social media that are coming to you? What's through referrals and so forth? What is happening? Why are so many people referring business to you?
I'm giving people my time. I'm giving them my time. I'm really taking that time to listen to their needs, to what their concerns are, to explain things. There's a lot of people that really just don't think that home ownership is attainable. And I feel like I'm here to inspire them and educate them and help them. And I've had so many friends, and, that some of them, in their age of 40, that never thought that they could own be a homeowner. And I've just really taken that time to teach them about all of it and say, well, let's explore it. What does it hurt? And then we explore it, and then we're in escrow within 2 months.
So you're making this sound really simple, which I believe that it is, but I just want to repeat this. You're saying if you will take the time to make the calls consistently and reach out to people, and that when you talk to them, that you slow down, that you're present, and you actually find out what's important to them, that you can deliver a world-class experience to them, and that they will refer business to you, or they'll work with you again in the future. And that's been your experience.
It really, really has. And again, I go back, I know my contracts, study them, and just doing all of that. And the way I just present, even when I present offers, I always make sure that the way that looks, every box is checked, everything's filled out correctly. I really just put time into it's my business.
Everything that you do.
I need to make sure.
So you treat it like a business.
I really do.
Yeah. Even when you're working, when a preponderance of the people you work with, the vast majority are people they're friends and family and people who are referred, you still are treating it like a business, which is interesting. So let me ask you this, just as we wrap it up. Is there anything that we've talked about that maybe you want to emphasize, or something that you want to share that we haven't talked about that would be a great takeaway for the folks who have been watching this morning? And by the way, this has been, I'm telling you, one of my favorite conversations that I have had in the business. And it has a lot to do with who you are and simply the energy and the perspective that you bring to the conversation. And I really mean that. I'm so impressed with your approach and your attitude. And I mean that.
Thank you so much. I mean, I think it's just, if anything that we haven't covered is just just the business that we're in, what we get to do, especially I think in a world with so much going on, and people have true trials and tribulations in this world, and to be able to just be part of something that is such a happy time for them, and and such a great memory. I really love real estate. I love what it's done for me, and I've always loved just the business world. And when you become a parent, you step back a little bit, and it's all about your babies and your kids, and I love that time. But you kind of lose yourself a little bit because you want to, you give that up. But now being in real estate and being able to have both worlds, a really healthy balance where mom works hard, and I hustle, and I'm a provider for my family, and I know real estate's changed my life, and not just financially, but But even just that, like to be able to make that kind of money and still pick up my kids from school. I always used to say when I used to pick them up for school, thank you, God, with a grateful heart. Because I was just so grateful to pick them up from school. That's what I wanted to do all of this for.
Again, it comes down to your attitude, which I think is just, it's absolutely fantastic. So I said that was the last question, but I've got one more for you. What would you say that you do on a day, and I promise we'll end with this. What would you say that you do on a daily basis or consistently that helps you with your mental attitude? Whether it's sticking to a schedule or prayer. Okay.
What I'm listening to, I don't watch things, and sometimes my husband and I'm like, oh, that's too violent. That's too. I just don't I protect my mind, my heart, and
I love that. That is so important. That it doesn't matter what it is, that whatever source it comes from, if it's imagery or sounds or conversations, whatever it is, that it makes an imprint. And what I hear you saying is you make an effort to protect that so you're not imprinting your mind with the bad stuff. I love it.
Yeah, and right now I just started reading the book, Think and Grow Rich. And that first chapter was like, I was like, oh, that's what I have. That's what I have. And that's what I had when I started. And I was studying like that burning desire and just self-determination, motivation, inspiration from other agents. And, it really is. It's just been in me. And I just feel like I'm growing so much. I want to grow. That's so important to me. I want to keep learning the business and, just putting really great craft out there and my brand and just caring about all of that and my clients. And I know I need to do even more if I want to go to that next level. And being with 321 and everything that you guys teach us in our mindset and wanting to go to that next level, I finally was like, oh, okay, yeah, I do want to go to that next level.
I love it.
I really feel that I'm gonna find that and find even more ways to continue to grow my business. But in the end, it's still all about just the customer service and making sure that you work so hard for your clients.
Well, you have shared with us a lot of great information, from mental attitude to having a work ethic, following the schedule and doing things consistently, and really ultimately being driven by gratitude. It's just great points. And I am so grateful that you took nearly an hour of your day to spend with us to share your story, to inspire us. And I just want you to know how much I appreciate that. And those who are watching, Lisa, if you could, just send her a note of gratitude through the chat so she can see that. Lisa, thank you for your time this morning. And let's, guys and gals, let's finish it up with some closing affirmations and make it a great day.
Yes.
Okay,
thank you, John.
Let's do it.